TG Geeks, episode 218, April 22nd, 2019. Comics and writing and general stuff. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios on this Earth Day in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, it's Earth Day everywhere, but we're in Phoenix, Arizona on April the 22nd. The tooth.
The tooth. Remember the tooth.
The tooth.
I thought that's what you said. Yes, and I'm Ben Raggington coming to you from what has now become a dentist office.
Yes, the tooth.
Yes, TG Squared Dentists. Here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Whatever that means. Okay, on with the show.
I don't know.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the Two Gay Geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we've got Hannibal Tabu, who is a writer and a comic book writer, writer in general. He's a DJ. He does all kinds of things. He's kind
of a Renaissance man.
A bit of a Renaissance man. And we're going to talk to him about several things that he's got going. And we have our birthday shout-outs, as always. There's some interesting birthdays, as always. Featured podcast of the week. And then we have our feedback section. And then our second segment, we're going to talk about a few things that are somewhat timely that we've run across. And
we watched, experienced, etc.
Experience, yep. And then we have our weekly recap. And as always, our follow-up items. Please keep listening through our follow-up items, and through the end of the show, we sometimes have something interesting to talk about. So we're going to get right to it right now. And we welcome back to our show Mr. Hannibal Tabu, who is just recently named one of the 15 top cultural trailblazers by the City of Los Angeles Cultural Affairs Department. And he writes for Comic Book Resources. And he is, as I said in my original article, last time we talked to him, he is an all-around Renaissance man. He does a little bit of everything. Welcome back to the show, Hannibal.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So last time we talked to you, you were had just released the first and getting ready for the second of the, what was that? The numbers?
Right.
Shoot. What was the
name? Oh, yes. Yes, Irrational Numbers.
Irrational Numbers. There we go. Yeah. It's like I knew it was numbers something, and it's like it just immediately went out of my head. So what is it that you've been doing since then? Well, let me back up. For anybody that doesn't know and didn't listen to episode 130 way back in 2017, tell people who you are, kind of a little bit of your background, and then we'll talk about the stuff that you got going right now.
No problem. Well, I'm at my heart a science fiction and comic book writer. I've been professionally writing comics since 2013 after I won the 2012 Top Cow Talent Hunt. And I'm classically trained. I have a degree in creative writing from USC here in Los Angeles. And I've been working on a wide variety of things, from mystery to fantasy to science fiction and so on and so forth. So the last time we talked, I've had a really great relationship with Wonderman Comics, which is a small publisher here, mostly digital-based in Venice, California. And we did Irrational Numbers, which was a supernatural historical fiction book. We then immediately after that put out Scoundrel, which was a historical fiction book set in 1981 East Los Angeles, which has gotten, we just did a signing for the collected edition at at the Comic Bug, rather, in Manhattan Beach. And we are also getting ready to put out a 12-issue run of Time Core, which is a science fiction series they have going on. They handed me the reins to and have not managed to regret it just yet.
Wow. That is amazing. And so you've had all of that going on, and then you've been doing other things since then. So tell us what you're doing now, and what some of the stuff that you have that is just being released as we speak.
Well, the 2 weeks announcements of late, I started our season 4 of the webcomic Project Wildfire, and the new book is called The Once and Future King. It'll be running through the summer. It's a 22-week webcomic that we'll then take down and collect for mail before putting up one later this year as well. And my BiPow column from CBR is now syndicated on iHeartRadio's Nerdorama podcast, which is a very big thing for me. I'm working with two of my good friends, Mr. Mo Kelly and Tawala Sharp, who's got a long, long history in producing radio. And hopefully, I believe I'm going to be working with a radio station called hang on, I got to get the numbers right.
Don't you hate it?
I know the last part is QBH. It's KQBH. That's it. It's going to become a low-powered FM radio station coming out of Boyle Heights, where I'm going to have a weekly show Saturday night. It's going to be 2 hours of music, mixing, commentary, comics, shenanigans, all that sort of stuff. So those kind of the things. But last time I was here, I talked to you about Dark Universe, The Bright Empire, which is this big, sweeping space opera. And it finally came out. I was literally like yelling at the publisher today, like, "Where's the PDF copy? I got to get it to Ben and Keith. What are you doing to me?" But that came out, and it's enormously rewarding work to do, because it's like everything that I grew up wanting to do without, rules or without budgets or without restraints in just a sweeping, magical science fiction kind of environment in space is really super rewarding to write.
Yeah, I think you were talking about that the last time we talked to you, that it was in the planning, or you had some ideas or something like that. And it sounds fascinating. I can't wait to look at it. And so you talked about that radio station. That is kind of right up your alley, because you kind of spin tunes occasionally, and you have you like to talk and DJ and
yes,
and all of that stuff. So that's a cool deal.
Yeah, it came to me out of the blue. One of my good friends, her name is Carmelita Ramirez Sanchez. She worked with a radio show called The Wake Up Show for many years, which was it was a nationally syndicated hip hop show that there's an Eminem and other people. And so the new thing is community activism. She works with a place called the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, and she's starting an FM radio station. She's got a license from the FCC. It's a low power station, so it'll only have a 7-mile radius, but it's going to be fully digital. So if you can't catch the show live on terrestrial radio, you can catch it, stream it live, you can download it later, whatever you need to do in that regard. So I'm very excited to be coming on board with her, because she's a consummate professional. Everything she does turns to solid gold, so I'm very excited about it.
That is incredible. That's a really wow.
Well, I'm
happy for you on that.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
The thing that kind of boggles my mind, though, is that when do you have time to eat and sleep?
You don't.
I think I've got a nap scheduled 2028, I think.
Oh.
Is that's after both your girls are graduated from college, right?
Exactly that.
Man, I can't wait to hear your show just before 2028. You are going to be just so much fun.
I've got a nap coming on. Anyway, so
it should be a thing, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about this webcomic. That sounds fascinating as well.
Well, the idea behind Project Wildfire is that there was a young man who was a college student. He was struggling to make ends meet because, college is expensive. So, you know how they had those things on campus where it's like, sign up for this experiment, we'll pay you such and such amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, sure, whatever.
Oh, I want to be a genetic experiment, of course.
It was desperate time. So everybody else who signed up for the experiment died, and he got superpowers.
Lord. Yikes.
Okay, so the question I got to have to ask, though, is did everybody die before he has his chance at it? I mean, it's like, because I could see it being really funny. We're like, I got nothing else to live for. Oh, everybody else died? Gee, I'm just going to go right into this anyway.
Well, one, they didn't really let the people talk to each other because it was a secret government program. You know, it's very heavily based on some of the science that came out of the Tuskegee experiment when the government tested syphilis on people and didn't necessarily tell them everything that was happening. It's like, oh, it's a surprise, you're dead. So,
oh, surprise, you're dead.
Lovely.
Yeah. Yikes.
And as it turns out, they were doing this test because they were desperate to come for a solution for this contagion that was turning normal people into giant monsters.
Oh.
So he's the only one with the power to fight this plague of giant monsters in the southern city that's slowly starting to spread outside of the city's bounds into other places in the world. And it's a real it's a real mix of kind of, because he's just a regular kind of goofy college student kind of guy.
Aren't they all?
But he really means well. We certainly hope so. Judge Kavanaugh may not think so, but let's move on.
So does he go and fight these monsters, or is that?
Yeah, he ends up fighting them a lot, but he unfortunately had to leave because he's working on an architecture degree, which is super not easy. It's a 5-year program.
Right,
so
I know.
Leave that time, essentially go to work with the government so he could protect the city in this regard. But as he goes through the book, he finds out that the government program that he works for may not be as altruistic as he is, and they may be behind a whole lot of shenanigans and may have actually caused the problem in the first place. So there's all brands of shenanigans happening in that regard. As the book unfolds, the story comes out, he learns more about himself and the people he's working with, while the people who are changing into monsters are just regular, ordinary people. So the character at the root of this one, the Corroded King, he is sad sack who has been kicked around his whole life. His friend gets caught in gunfire between the police and criminals, and so he's mourning this loss as his superpowers start to emerge. He starts to turn to this 20 and then eventually 30-foot monster covered in this kind of supernatural interdimensional goop. And so two of them, the clash between them is not necessarily a good and bad struggle. It's much more noble.
Wow, and you've written this, right? This is
yeah.
What...
I did.
You need a nap. You need a nap after that.
It's all done. It's written. It's drawn by Quinn McGowan, and here we brought on Troy Peteri with the time to do the lettering. And Troy is a consummate professional and makes everything look so much better than it already was. So yeah, and we put out every Wednesday on operative.net.
Wow.
Coolness. Now, because you earlier said that you have a love for science fiction as well as in comics, and granted, growing up, reading comics, because I grew up in that 70s when superheroes were beginning to come back into vogue, and to be honest, their origin stories and the story and their acts of heroism, they weren't exactly what you would say rooted in science. Didn't stop me from reading them. So when you were working on this Project Wildfire, because we love for science fiction, did you decide to, did you want to go for just the more familiar comic book approach to it so that it's kind of light? Or did you decide that you kind of maybe wanted to kind of dip your toe into the science on this?
I dipped my toe somewhat into the science of it, but I really lean a lot more closely towards what's essentially magical realism. So there are a lot of scientific what happens here in terms of, for example, one of the character, the Corroded King. So, some of his power can actually corrode through space-time itself, and using string theory and the idea of parallel worlds, that bounces through and leads to the creation of another character that's going to pop up, I think, at the end of this year. If memory serves.
That's heavy. I like it.
That's
yeah. Spoiler.
Oops, you should have said that first.
It's funny because I've got the write-ups for all characters on the website already, and there's a lot of redacted in there, but you can still tell, it's like, oh, this is this, and oh, then this connects, oh, so we've got literally dozens and dozens of character write-ups on our website. So people start to really poke through them. They can say, oh, wait, this means this, and this goes with this, and well, I see what this is, and so on and so forth.
Have you had to develop some sort of a massive outline? For example, it's told that Kevin Feige's got this gigantic map, if you will, in his office at Marvel, depicting the entire cinematic movie universe. Did you have to kind of like draw something similar to be able to say, okay, at this particular stage, I need this kind of story to be told, and tell it in such a way so that it connects with this thing down the road, however much later?
Absolutely. Without that kind of planning, you fall apart immediately. So I use an app called Scrivener, which I love so much because I can synchronize through Dropbox, and every I get to, it's got everything that I work on.
Wow.
So I don't worry about, oh crap, I left that on the sheet. Care about that. Everything. So there's a timeline down my wildfire section there. Putting a wildfire from the day he got to what I know is the last page of his book, the last page of his book. I know something is going to happen, and it's really hard not telling people.
Yeah.
So that kind of planning is being able, especially when you have a day job, you have kids, you have a family. So when you leave something and walk back from it, this is the map that tells me which way I go. Oh, here's where I was going. Got it. No problem. And you start going again.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, the last thing you want now is for some sort of EMP to happen and wipe out, all your cloud data.
Why would you do that? Why would you say that?
I'm not trying to wish anything. I'm just saying, that's the last thing we want. I mean, forget the fact that it would completely turn us into a third world country. I want to see the story done.
Yeah.
That's what matters to me. I'm sure it matters to you too.
Luckily, I've got the general idea of the timeline mostly memorized. But, yeah, that is a horrible possibility that we never want to see happen.
Yes, for any reason.
Yeah, well, like I said,
we wouldn't exist anymore.
No, that would suck. Yes, admittedly,
we'd be doing our podcast through the mail.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Snail mail podcast. Sure, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it would take about 2 months to tell an episode.
It would take 2 months to do an interview.
Just do the interview, and then let's discuss the feedback. That'd be a hoot. But like I said,
podcast.
Yo.
You have to put the podcast on the gramophone. I don't like it.
And then we have to kind of drive to everybody's homes, and say, here's the next episode. Yeah, that'd be great fun. And I can only imagine what it'd be like for you. Got to go, Pony Express and start delivering printed copies of your story.
God. I'll never go back. I won't go back.
I'll go, kicking and screaming.
Anyway, so there was one other thing in your email that you talked about. What was the other thing? There was a third thing.
Well, let me see. I see the core. There's Rogue Nation.
Oh, just your bipile. You talked about that, but you have Time Core and Rogue Nation. Those two things that you.
It's a really great book that's the science fiction book I'm doing with Wonderman Comics, where it's a great idea. If let's say that you die and you haven't done enough good or bad to deserve final disposition based on whatever your spiritual belief is. If that's you get recruited in, your spirit gets recruited into this organization called the Time Corps, where you fight and try to stop anachronisms from popping weird points of the timeline, and earn yourself a final disposition, be it good, bad, or your personal belief has going on. And it's run by a celestial bureaucracy. Are the executives there, and they've got very weird corporate relationships with other pantons and things going on, even within themselves. They're like, I don't want to work with that guy because that thing that he did 4,000 years ago, he knows what he did.
Oh my Lord! Wow.
So it's got a very crazy mix of corporate politics with science fiction, with history and myth, with magic, and all that woven through a time travel sort of lens.
It gives
It's a very big, and again, another one that requires intricate timeline. And now, what did I do at the Berlin conference? Oh, right. Okay, so if I did that, this thing.
And you're not only dealing with different bodies and times and oh my gosh, wow.
That's a head full of knowledge you got to maintain, and of course it gives a whole new meaning to having any of your characters want to hold a grudge.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So, and then you have Rogue Nation listed there as well.
Yeah, that's going to be my. It's a manuscript I've been sitting on for probably about 4 years because I've been so busy doing other projects. But I'm hell bent on getting it out this year. It's going to be a political thriller, mostly for Rwanda, and it's funny because I had a preview chapter in the back of a novel that I put out in 2012, and one of the first things that is said in the center of it is all the characters, when they greet each other, when they leave each other, when they need to say something important, they used to say Rwanda forever. And I didn't think anything of it. This is 2012, right? So I'm sitting in the theater at Black Panther, and I'm like, oh, crap, I'm going to have to change everything.
Wow.
Now,
but I've worked around that.
Cool. Your description in the email, it describes it as prose science fiction. Now, I will admit, I am not familiar with that type of term, prose science fiction. Enlighten me, please.
Well, prose is standard, book publishing in contrast to comics or whatever. So it's going to be nothing but words, and you'll have to kind of use your imagination to get the pictures, whereas comics give you storytelling in a way that's very that helps your brain develop what's happening there in itself. So if I had the money to animate or draw this out, but it's a significantly larger scope of a project, and Rogue Nation is the third novel that I'm in the same fictional universe, which has, if we talked about the timelines and outlines before, they're nothing compared to the timeline that Rogue Nation sits in, which is 120,000 years. And so much to remember. Okay, if I do this, I'm going to blow up that other thing. So I can't do that. I got to make this work this way. Okay. And Rogue Nation is the third installment of that to try to show a possible future that, will at least be, I hope, more interesting than what we have going on here.
Yeah, Frank Herbert's got nothing on you with his Dune universe. I'm telling you, based on what you're describing.
That's very kind to say. I'm a huge Herbert fan. So that's very kind of you to say.
Yeah, because Herbert, he's so famous for having done, just like the biggest universe building, I think, since Tolkien. So it sounds like that with Rogue Nation. And this series. How much? How do I ask this question? What kind of challenges do you face? Obviously, you got to keep copious notes, but what kind of challenges are you facing when you're writing this thing? I imagine you must be on a real kick when you get to go in a really character-driven moment. But that's a really meticulous universe that you have to be telling your tale in. What kind of challenges are you facing when trying to do that? How long does it take you to write something like this?
Well, it depends on when I'm writing something like Time Core, which requires a lot of research, that can slow me down. So I try to turn in a script a month for that. And that means I have to have, because I outlined all the stories probably more than a year ago. So I outlined the general script. Okay, bro, conference. Okay, Cretaceous period. Okay, yada, yada, yada. And then I have time to research and figure out the details of what I'm going to do and be able to plug it in as reference for the artist. From a prose book, I can be able to notes to myself on, okay, you got to describe it like this, and the color of the stone in the Hague is like this, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's keeping the notes is to be able to keep up with the. Me, one of the bigger challenges is making sure that I don't copy from myself. Mm-hmm. I was doing a project Wildfire, and I was writing it, and I was like, wait a minute. I've done this thing. I can't do this. Oh, man.
I've done this before.
Just scrap the whole thing.
Dang it.
And I was like, because it was a thing where he was talking to first responders after a fight. Because I just start, like, the first fight happens before this comic even starts, and then it leaps into the actual story. And I'm like, I've done this already, another issue. I had it. Because I had already written it for the book that's out now, Project Wildfire, The Once and Future King. And I was trying to write a new way, so I got to figure a new way to do a cold open. Okay, well, no problem. And I figured it out after about half hour. But making sure that I not only don't copy myself, don't copy my influences, and always pushing myself to say, what's the new thing to do? What's the new thing that I can make is both the biggest challenge and the greatest joy.
Yeah.
My goodness.
That's amazing. All of that stuff you're doing. I also know that you're sort of, a couple of friends of ours, and you are on the list to write something for them at some future date, Neil and Jana Halford, for their Uncharted Regions.
That's true. Oh my God. That was so much fun. It's a fantasy book, a fantasy story rather, set in a Dungeons and Dragons style world. But I had to make an audio drama. So I had to think, okay, I can't use any of my normal tricks where I do somebody stops and looks at the camera or whatever. I can't do any of those tricks. I got to come up with all new tricks now. And it was interesting because I had to work in characterization and plot and world building, because the story that I wrote is actually, ironically enough, it's hard to believe, but it's actually set in the same timeline that Rogue Nation is set in. It's all part of one very, 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 very big fictional universe. And it may not seem to make sense that a science fiction political thriller and a fantasy are actually in the same universe, but when it all, well, if I don't croak before it all happens, when it all comes out in the wash, I hope I will see how all the things tie together and see the work that was put into making sure that everything made sense.
That was going to be my next question. I mean, were you going to be trying to do some cross-platform universe building? But it sounds like you've already got that in mind.
Yes, yeah. I've watched the example of George Lucas my whole life, not only as a creator but as a person. See that continuity is not a bad thing. There's a lot of people who say, "Oh, it's too much to remember what this character did," or what. But I don't believe that's true. I believe that richens and deepens the work. So the more connected it is, as you said with Feige, I believe he has the same idea, that the more connected it is, the better off it is.
Oh, yes.
And the more ultimately you can connect with fans, because when they look back and say, wait a minute, this one scene in this thing meant something all the way down here. You've had that plan since this long, and you can easily the plan.
Yeah. Oh, I agree completely. So, I find that very rewarding. And it also shows that fandom, that the people that are in fandom are far more intelligent than a lot of.
And there's this word called canon that we're not going to get into that. Not going to get on that soapbox.
No, we're not going to get on that soapbox. Before we go, there's one last thing that I want to ask you about, and that you were responsible for Avengers Black Panther some time ago. And I just wanted to kind of get your little bit of feedback on that. How was that? Was that Hannibal?
No, that was Jeffrey Thorne.
Oh, Jeffrey Thorne, my bad. God, I'm an idiot. Never mind.
He thinks you're Jeffrey Thorne.
I'm such an idiot. Okay, well, let's cut. Well, okay.
I will tell you a fun story about that really quickly, though. I drove Jeffrey Thorne home from WonderCon last year. While we were home, he told me the entire plot, the entire season. So I know.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm sitting in there. I know. Like, oh my god! And in the episode, I'm still managing to be shocked by stuff happening.
Wow, was he all animated?
It's too late for Marvel to be mad now. But
yeah. He was. I'm sure he was all animated the way he is, because he can be pretty animated. Was he acting out all the scenes?
Anything? No.
Ooh. Well. Anyway, given, wow, this was a lot that we had to cover today. And of course I got massive egg all over my face, but so be it. So for anybody who wants to know more about what you're working on, and my God, that's a lot of stuff. Is there some place on social media where you share, okay, this is my latest project? Where can they find out about that? Being the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, where can they find everything about you?
You can find everything about me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr as @Hannibal Tabu. Likewise, when I share, there's an event calendar on operative.net that has when Wildfire Wednesday's coming out, the buy pile is coming out, and where it's going to be, links to things, our convention appearances. We just added that calendar there, and that's also where you'll be finding all the webcomic stuff. That's on Twitter. And Instagram, it's OperativeNet, one word, no dashes or umlauts or anything. And I think it's operativenetwork.tumblr.com.
Cool. Well, thank you, Hannibal, for being with us again.
Oh, it was tons of fun.
Incredible.
Thank you for having me. I always love coming on with you guys.
All
And
right.
I'm going to get you that review copy. I'm going to do that this weekend, whether that guy likes it or not.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. This is online gadfly and well-regarded jerk Hannibal Tabu, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
It's always nice to talk to Hannibal. He's always just so effervescent.
He's
and
very entertaining.
very entertaining, as always. I will never forget. It was just at San Diego Comic-Con when we were there.
It was the Independent Creator Summit.
Yeah, and I just happened to say something. If anybody would be interested in being on a podcast.
Oh,
and
his reaction.
He literally
nearly jumped over the table.
Exactly, nearly jumped over the table, and he was up on a dais with like 6 other people. But that was always I always reminded of that, and it's kind of humorous. Anyway, we've got a few selected birthdays, and I just want to say something about this birthday segment. Is every year and every day, or that we do this, I go through all of the birthdays on a couple of different websites, and I choose birthdays. There's a few that appear regularly, but it's whatever strikes me at the moment, and whoever's maybe in the news or that I learned about or whatnot. And so it's ever changing. I could go back to previous episodes and choose those things that we've already talked about, but every time it's always different. So
keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh, yeah. And here's a few selected birthdays for April the 22nd through April the 29th, 2019. April 22nd, Immanuel Kant. Kant. I can't stand him.
Immanuel Kant.
Immanuel Kant, yeah. Yes, for anybody that...
Singing in the Rain.
Singing
Look
in
it
the
up.
Rain. You have
Watch
to
it.
see it. You have to see it. Also on April 22nd, Peter Frampton. Aaron Spelling, John Waters.
Oh, we were just talking earlier before we started recording how much fun it would be to talk to him.
Oh my gosh, it just would be a scream. It'd be off the rails.
And we do one whole segment that we'd simply be talking about Divine.
Yeah, exactly. But it would be fun to talk to John Waters.
I would love to talk to John Waters.
Also on April 22nd, Yehudi Menuhin, who is a famed violinist, and a friend of ours, Greg Essenmacher. April 23rd, the Bard himself.
Shakespeare?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah?
Oh.
Okay, I'm waiting on you.
And Shirley Temple, Dev Patel, Lee Majors.
You've been a good boy this year, Lee.
Yeah. And imagine this, James Buchanan.
Wow.
How about that?
Just saw Raising Buchanan.
Oh, if you haven't seen, we talked about that last time. Raising Buchanan.
If this movie shows up anywhere,
Arizona-made film. If it shows up anywhere, you
have
must
to see this movie.
Watch
it is nuts.
It is the craziest thing, and our hats off to the filmmakers here in Arizona and the people, the local talent. Oh my gosh,
I loved that movie.
It was wonderful. Also, April 23rd, Sandra Dee, Max Planck, and Sergei Prokofiev. Composer.
Oh, yes.
And, yeah, what?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I thought you said...
Not of yes, no.
That's what I thought you said. Of yes. I thought,
No.
what?
No, but of ELP, because Emerson and Palmer have borrowed some of his music at... Anyway, never mind.
Anyway. Also, Ruggero Leoncavallo, Reedy. Pagliacci. Yes. Reedy. Another
Singing in the Rain reference.
Yes.
All roads go back to Singing in the Rain these days.
Exactly. It used to be Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It used to be Disney.
Yeah.
It's all over the board.
Now it's Singing in the Rain.
We have too many self-referential references.
That was very meta.
Yeah. Alan Oppenheimer and Michael David Rosso round out April 23rd. April 24th, Barbara Streisand. And I put Kelly Clarkson on here because she is the one that song
she wrote and recorded that amazing song that is in the Danny Patrol episode of Doom Patrol that was. It made me sob. It was so powerful.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It was beautiful. And also Shirley MacLaine and Jaemon Onsu.
You got that right.
Yeah, I think I got it right. I hope so. That's what Wikipedia said is how you say it. Anyway, he's the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain Marvel,
and then Shazam.
And Shazam, yeah.
Which we'll talk a little bit later about.
April 24th, Eric Kripke and friends of ours, Marianne Asanuma, Eric Elick, and my niece Laura Lee. April 25th, Al Pacino, Hank Azaria, Ella Fitzgerald. I adore her. Her music is just...
Her music is amazing,
wow.
And her voice is like velvet.
Yep. And Guillermo Marconi, who actually is... his work helped us do what we do today. And his discovery of the radio waves and all that kind of stuff. And also to round out April 25th, Bjorn Ulvaeus.
ABBA.
Mr. ABBA himself.
Yes.
April 26th, Carol Burnett. I am Pei.
You are?
Yes, I am. I am Pei.
That was so simple. That was stupidly easy.
That was. Also, my uncle Jim O'Neill and Scotty Roughgarden of Honey Bubbles. April 27th, Jenna Coleman, Coretta Scott King, Mary Wollstonecraft, before she married Byron Shelley.
Yeah.
And Casey Kasem and Russell T. Davies. April 28th, Oscar Schindler, Lionel Barrymore, who was the
grand patriarch of the Barrymore acting family,
and he was also Mr. Potter in
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also on April 28th, Terry Pratchett, Eugene Shoemaker, astronomer. Yes,
and helped discover the Shoemaker-Levy comet,
and Jan Oort.
Oh, who I would imagine discovered the Oort cloud.
What would ever give you that idea?
It was just mad guessing.
Mad guessing. Also, we have two filmmakers to round out April 28th and this birthday segment, Jordan Blazak and Jeff Patton. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Hi, my name is Joe Hogan, and I'm a geek. And if you're currently listening to this, there's a good chance you're a geek too. So check out my podcast, Geektitude. Each week, I talk with somebody about their geek aptitude. Sometimes I talk to people in a geeky profession. Sometimes it's someone doing something really cool with their geekiness. Often it's another geeky podcaster. But it's always someone who wants to share their inner geek. So join me each week as we come together to geek out about all the geeky stuff we love. And remember, this week, keep it geek.
Go give a listen to our friend Joe Hogan over at Geektitude. He has a really good podcast. And now, what time is it? And you're bobbing your head.
Yeah.
So you're beginning to like this music.
No, not really. It's just there.
Dang it.
It's just there. So starting off, this is the feedback section. Yes. So with the first one, this is regarding the horror thriller Soul to Keep and how it's set for a major U.S. release. This is a press release. We got a comment from Chickart Public Relations. They said, "We love the TG Geeks for being such great supporters of indie filmmakers." Well, we have been saying this repeatedly. There is such a wealth of talent out there in the independent creating community.
Absolutely.
And then moving on, regards to TG Geeks episode number 215, got a comment from Patricia Chica herself.
Yay.
She said this podcast was very enjoyable to listen to and to relive our beautiful Saturday morning meetup. Thank you so much.
That was I really, really enjoyed that. That was
I did
such
too.
A wonderful time.
That was such a
and
great
we
time.
love Patricia.
Oh.
She's a doll.
Yeah, and she so has our back.
Yep.
And then to close this off, yes, we're only doing 3 today because we have a lot more we want to talk about. This is in regards to the trailer we ran for Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Got a comment from Hamish Downey. He says, I don't think he's made a good film since Kill Bill. Oh, my.
no.
So I'm not holding out much hope. But the subject matter is interesting, so let's hope this is a return to form. He is certainly a man who knows his references, and that is true. I mean, he knows. I mean, Tarantino is a geek. I mean, he really is. He's just the biggest film nerd out there, and he likes to really insert all of his everything that he makes with those nerdy, geeky references of his. So I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah.
And that's our feedback for this week.
That's our feedback. And if you want to leave feedback, or you want to comment on an episode, or you want to comment on anything that we run on the website, any article, you can do that on our website at tggeeks.com. You can comment on anything on Facebook. We publish to our page, TG Squared Studios. Everything that goes out on the website goes to Facebook. It goes to Twitter. You can comment there. It goes to Instagram. You can comment there. Wherever you find us, you can comment on our episodes, on our articles that we run. If you happen to want to call us and leave a voicemail, you can do that too. You can, and we'll play that on air. And we haven't had anybody call us in a long time.
No,
so
the feedback line, it's getting cobwebs.
yeah.
It's lonely. It's sad.
It's lonely.
Please perk it up.
Yeah. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, when you leave a comment or a voicemail message, please play nice.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
So we've got 3 things that we want to go over. First off, and this is the thing that I think everybody is really talking about right now.
Yeah.
We just had the season 2 finale for Star Trek Discovery. And
Yes.
this is like storming all through social media, in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, you can't go anywhere in social media and not see somebody talking about this finale.
Exactly. And hopefully we will not give any spoilers.
Oh, we're going to avoid that.
I will just say that after this, I'm on board with Discovery.
I'm very much on board.
I became much more on board. I was very hesitant to even watch season 2 after the debacle. Yeah, exactly. That's the very word, the debacle that season 1 was, and how in the heck are they going to extract themselves from that mess? But you purchase the monthly subscription.
I decided to go ahead and
Go ahead
purchase
and
the
do
month.
it.
Well, I had this rule that if they can hold me, because when you get the when you get the season package, or when you sign up for CBS streaming, you get like 3 months free. So I made a calendar note saying, okay, after this, boom, if they have me by this date, then I'm going to purchase. And they had me before the date. They had me by episode 2.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm on board with the Discovery now, and I'm excited to see where they're going to go.
Very excited.
Yeah, I mean they did some interesting things this season, and they had some great character arc type things.
Oh man, they had some really great surprises, some fabulous resolutions.
Yep.
Holy moly. And as I've been telling everybody, the thing that I will share is that the last 15 minutes of this episode, I don't think I was breathing.
Yep.
I mean, because I actually caught myself a couple of times where I started to get a little lightheaded. I'm like, I've stopped breathing. Because I was so wrapped up, and I really felt my heart pounding. I mean, this story so pulled me in, and it has got to be one of the best Star Trek finales I have ever seen.
Yeah, it was really good. So No spoilers there, but we will be certainly tuning in for season 3, which apparently is
2020.
not going to happen till spring of
2020, I think.
2020,
Yeah,
I think.
we got a year.
What was it? They said they were going to give Picard.
Well, they're going to push Picard.
Yeah. So
That's going to be the next big push. And of course, on a side note, there is a lot of talk about trying to get another Star Trek series with Captain Pike.
Oh.
Which Anson Mount says that he is open to, as long he wants to have a creative discussion with the filmmakers about that. And the showrunners of Discovery are certainly open to that idea as well.
Yeah, it might. I'm not sure. What's the time period between now and original series?
Now?
Well, or that
Discovery?
The Discovery
Oh,
timeline.
I had that
and
written
original.
down somewhere. It's. I think it started off as originally 10 years. Now it's down to 9 after season 1.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see, as a short mini series, I suppose, or maybe even a movie.
Well,
But
I think
don't know
something that a
they
lot of
could-
people had that they were having problems with Discovery is that now you're taking things that are completely, totally new, and you're trying to retrofit them into the canon,
Right.
and they weren't fitting. This episode does explain that.
Yeah.
With Pike and the Enterprise, that's not really so much of an issue because there's nothing. You don't have to retrofit now. I mean,
Right.
we know who Pike is. We know the Enterprise. We know who number 1 is.
and we know, we know the cage. And
He's
we know-
already been to the cage.
and we know that he has some massive accident.
Yeah.
but that's about
There's
all
a lot
we
of,
know of.
So there's no real radical canonical changes that they need to worry about.
Other than not screwing around with,
With-
technology.
Right.
you know.
Which I love how they handled in the in the second year of Star Trek.
Yeah.
That was Discovery is fantastic. Anyway, yeah, I love this season of Discovery, and I
Yeah.
can't wait for the next one.
It was good. And we finally broke down and we saw Shazam, since we don't get the press screeners for
Anything Warner's.
from Warner, but that's neither here nor there. We went and saw it, and we went to see it, and I quite enjoyed it. I know that you're a little bit have a different opinion because of
I come from a different background on
right.
on the
you
stories.
you know about the comic book and all of that. I don't, but I thought it was a good story.
Yeah, I
They
think this-
told a good
I think this movie was made for people who did not know anything about it.
right, and I enjoyed it tremendously. It was a good a kind of a feel good fun romp.
There are good things about it. I
Yeah.
love the idea of family.
Yeah.
That I thought was an amazingly strong message, and I very much enjoyed it. It's some of the characterizations I didn't care for. That was my really big issue. But the messages in this movie I thought were fantastic.
Right.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, so we enjoyed Shazam. It was kind of a nice little fun thing to go see.
Yeah.
And now we'll
need
talk
to-
a little bit more about
A tiny bit more because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, and we ran out of time again. Talking about Phantasm at 40, and meeting Don Coscarelli and seeing that film with him in the audience, and then the Q&A afterwards, and all of that. It was
Actually getting
just,
to go up and talk to the man.
Yeah.
We did twice.
yeah. So it was a lot of fun. We were actually just before the film started, and then we were the very last people to talk to him before he packed up and left, because we stood in line and we stayed at the back of the line, so let everybody else go before
because
us.
you just wanted a photo and to kind of reinforce our conversation that we had with him earlier. So
Yeah.
we're hoping that some nice results will come out of that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Have to
a
wait
lot
and
of fun.
see. But it was a very enjoyable event. I
Yeah.
like that Alamo.
Yeah,
I like that Alamo Draft House.
the one at in Tempe.
It's the one in
yes.
Tempe. I like that one. In fact, people that I've talked to who've been to both say that they prefer the Tempe one.
Yeah.
It was a very nice venue. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. I could see myself going back there for other special events. But Phantasm at 40 was so much fun.
It was. It
That
truly
is such a
was.
fun horror film. I love it.
It's just
It's a
craziness.
blast.
Yep.
But yeah, we had a great time.
Yep.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counselors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
If you are in transition or have already transitioned and are in crisis, or you know of someone in crisis, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by specially trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to the translifeline.org for more information about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. God, I love that soundbite. Here's the weekly review.
I got to fly through this really fast. Sunday, April 14th, Dr. Zombie, Monster Family Physician number 44. Phoenix Film Festival review for The Garden Left Behind. Press release, Chernobyl miniseries comes to HBO May 6th. Phoenix Film Festival review on Raising Buchanan. On Monday, the 15th, TG Geeks episode number 217. And then a review of the horror shorts from Phoenix Film Festival. Then a review of the sci-fi shorts from the Phoenix Film Festival. And then a TG Geeks Festival wrap-up. On Tuesday the 16th, Jeannie's Yaps, Restaurants on the Road, Bliss Rebar, and then had a press release mini review on General Magic, which will be in theaters on May 10th. The sequel, straight paperback with a foreword by Andre Gower, available for pre-order. On Wednesday the 17th, Foster, a first-hand look at foster care in the U.S., debuts on HBO on May 7th. And then Ben's gay breakdown of a marvelous movie that I just love called The Falls. And then Jeannie's Yaps, Restaurants on the Road, Don's New York Pizza. On Thursday, April 18th, a review from Andrea Richoff, Teen Spirit, how she says music and acting sensational. And then Disney releases new Toy Story 4 TV spot and final poster. And then on Friday, the 19th, new Sushi number 59, Morsels of News from Japan and Beyond. On Saturday, the 20th, Jeannie's Yaps, Restaurants on the Road, El Charro in Tucson. And if you notice it diminishing towards the end, it's because we burned out.
We are burned out.
We are tired, but we're slowly kind of
getting back
we're getting
into
back to the
swing of
groove.
things.
Yeah, we
It was
really
just
burned
like,
out after festival.
Wow, it was because I was publishing lots and lots and lots of stuff every day.
I wrote
oh
like
my God.
5 or 6 reviews in a matter of 2 days.
Yeah.
I was wiped out.
Yeah. You can find all of this and everything we publish at tggeeks.com, as well as our entries on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. Please visit each of those places and comment. Follow-up items, as everybody knows, we're huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, or writers. Please buy their stuff, talk about them, have cash for them. Please support independent creators. Joshua Tree Feed, I cannot say that. Joshua Tree Feeding Program. The goal of Joshua Tree Feeding Program is to provide nourishment to low-income HIV-positive residents of Maricopa County. They have a food pantry. They can go there and they can pick what they want. They don't just get a food box of stuff that's been chosen for them. They get to choose it. Please support them by going to jtfp.org, where you can make a singular gift or a monthly recurring gift.
Special shout out to the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. It is published by the Human Arkle, that is Brian Weber, and we give that shout out because they republish our content from time to time, or he does. And you can find the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News by going to Twitter and searching Arkle, that is at, excuse me, ARKLE on Twitter. Also, he has the Shameless Cash Grab on YouTube. That is Arkle again. You can find it by going to youtube.com/user/Arkle Studios, and that is all one word. We want to give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours and their subsidiary group, Gamers After Hours. Big thanks to the moderators for literally saying share away. The URL is Gay Geeks After. Well, it's facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for also allowing us to share our stuff on their page. Their URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek, with special thanks to Jeremiah Reeves. He is their moderator, and he's given us our blessing, or given us his blessing to share our stuff there.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And lastly, we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as the places other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check out our replay of this episode on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays, and listen to the rest of their content during the rest of the week. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and view us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Up next time, who knows? We've got several irons in the fire that we can.
I think I know. You mentioned talking earlier about who we may want to run next week.
Yeah, we'll figure it out when we get there. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things that we've talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Peace.
Cheers.